Hi and welcome to another edition of OnSide SA. Well, we've had week 11 of the show, and it's now down to, let me get my numbers right, 18 from 76 votes. Last one standing, really cutting up. But week 11's good.
Paul, you get to week 8, you've done a great job. Average is between 8 and 9, the winner.
Yeah.
That's if there's upsets. Unfortunately, there hasn't been, well, for the guys that are still going, but...
good to see Brentford going through 8 people, Man City 8, and Crystal Palace 2. The guys who went, Willives, Baba, 41 on Wolves. Aston Villa, Liverpool, the 3 guys in Liverpool must have thought
my brother's puking still.
Yeah, Everton stuck the boys away. West Spam, Brighton, and Fulham. So those are the ones that have stuck them out. Let's talk about the 3 ladies remaining. 3 of 18. Good to see. Pauline Young from the UK. Well done. Cindy Riddell, America, Texas, and our local Blair Miller. And then international still in. Mark Rogers, UK. Neil Horsman, Tweels, UK. And Ashley Rushton,
the US of A.
Florida. That's excellent. These are the other participants that are still in. Well done to every one of them. Kevin Rice, Conrad Ruiz, Beto Quintas, Sean Matthew, Sky Shabalala, the East Coast DJ, Michelle Narak, our CEO here, John Finlayson, a major owner, Bruce Armstrong, a local lawyer, Jason Nell, fill me in.
Decoy Dugsman, remember when you go and see him?
Yes,
one of the tickets.
Mark Fullion, local lad. Lawrence Verners, Johannesburg owner like Finlayson, and Brett Galley.
Big Galley won it. We're going to Liverpool, Man City in March, Paul. So Brett's still going. Previous winner.
This is an interesting sheet you've put up here, Budge. Teams that can still be used in this round by the players that are still in. Arsenal.
2 of.
Brighton.
3.
Aston Villa.
A couple.
4.
4 of them,
Liverpool 2. And Man United. Will they be rushing to
3.
use that?
Well, Paul, you've got no option. You know, I think 11 of the 18 are basically certainties what I think they'll be on. But, there's some decent picks here, Paul. There's a couple of guys that can use, I think, Arsenal, Aston Villa, and Liverpool, Aston Villa. Now, which way they're going to go? Because the next round is a nightmare, Paul. So
we're talking about the upcoming week.
This week's tough. A lot of guys should get through on what the games are and their picks. But next week, good luck.
And Budge, a lot of pressure to start the new one. The date is the 25th. Get that right, guys. Those of you itching to get on again, the new one starts on November the 25th.
Yeah, Paul, this week obviously is the 11th. Next week's the international break. And then we'll start, unfortunately it starts on the Saturday. No one will be on the Man City-Liverpool game. I think that's what kicks it off. But 25th is kick-off next competition.
All right, let's have a look. Let's get our man Stevie B. How does cricket side do? Steve, you there?
I'm here, good morning.
And they beat the Netherlands?
They beat the Dutch? He's fainted. Stokes got 100.
No, honestly, it's been shocking. I've hardly watched it. To be fair, they've just been. They have so underperformed. The only thing they can do now is try to win the last game and finish. If they finish in the top 8, they qualify for the Champions Cup in a couple of years. But otherwise, I think that some of those players have probably played their last tournament for England. I mean, the average age is over 30. I think they'll change the team around soon.
Yeah, they're lucky that the Netherlands are there. Otherwise, they wouldn't have won a game. They don't want to be there. They've been really poor. Embarrassing to say a word. Anyway, talking about cricket is no more. Our boys are in the semi-final against Australia, so let's hope what happens. But Steve, onto the serious stuff. Champions League. Dortmund 2, Newcastle 0. Did you watch it?
I did, I thought Newcastle played well in patches, second half, and they were pushing for an equaliser and got caught with a good sort of counter attack. And I think that if you look at the fixtures now, away to PSG, I think they lose that, it's all over for them. They're playing really. As far as I think they're playing for a Europa place now. I think it'll be determined by the game against Milan, but I think the Champions League qualification is gone for them now.
Yeah, can't lose home and away to Dortmund, and you got going nowhere. Man City 3-0, cruise past Young Boys of Bern.
Yeah, very much so. Could have been more easily. Goalkeeper made some good saves. They've qualified. they can take the foot off the gas, and he rotated a little bit, and he'll do the same in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I can't blame him.
Yeah.
Arsenal 2, Sevilla 0. I watched a bit of it. Sevilla, they're not the team of old. Yeah, they came just to keep the ball going nowhere. Arsenal scored 2 good goals, but very comfortable. Did you see it, Steve?
Yeah, just bits, because I was obviously concentrating on the United game. But Sevilla, it's really good. They almost every year they qualify for the Champions League, drop out to the Europa, and then go on and almost win the Europa most years. It's a strange. It's like, that their level is not quite good enough for the knockout stage. But they're not the team they were, and I think that the La Liga is where they're concentrating on this year now. Yeah. But no, Arsenal, I think that another good result, and they should top that, they win that group.
Yeah, Sevilla going nowhere. I've had a couple of bets on them during the season. They're not the same team. And Steve, the floor is yours. Copenhagen 4, Man United 3. What do you think?
Well, I mean, where do you start? I mean, the truth is, for 40 minutes, it was so one-sided, and Højlund was probably a little bit unlucky not to have got a hat-trick. And then obviously the red card. Look, I mean, in real time, it was hard to tell what had happened, and even when you see it in slow motion, I think there's no doubt that it wasn't deliberate. It was just. But when you look at it, and obviously he plants his foot on the guy's sort of ankle, the referee's going to look at that in VAR, and it's going to be a red. And that changed the game. The whole dynamic of the game just changed in moments. And before you knew where you were, it was 2-2. But the crazy thing was the second half, I thought for a big chunk of the second half, United were on top. They're a bit lucky with the penalty. But ultimately, it's just, and then after that, it was all about game management. Yeah. And it was a shock. It was a really poor equaliser to give away. Dalot was just daydreaming. I understand that Højlund had a real go at him. Very upset with Dalot for losing his man, and after that, it was just Copenhagen just got sort of buoyed by that, and they threw everything at them. And again, a little bit of I'd say sort of sloppy defending, and now I think United are playing for Europa place. I can't see them winning in Galatasaray. They've never done that before, and look, they could get something. They could get something at home against Munich, because Munich have qualified. But I think as things stand, I think they're going to be very fortunate to be playing European football in the new year.
The only thing they're going to get from Bayern Munich is a good hiding, Steve, because they're garbage. Just having watched them those 2 games against Galatasaray and Brentford, that Dalot has no right to be at Old Trafford. I know there's plenty of injuries. He ball watches, and everyone has a go at Maguire. Maguire screaming at him the whole game, trying to come on the cover, and he's never there. He wants to go forward. He's a liability, but unfortunately, with all the injuries, Malaysia's always injured, Shaw's injured, so he's just got to mix and match. This VAR is killing football, Steve. That just, was, as you said many a time, clear and obvious errors. That was never a red card. I know when you slow it down, it looks vicious. But, you see those things in Sunday League. The guys are trying to get the body in the way. He doesn't mean to put his foot on the guy's ankle, and they slow it down, and it looks like it's a criminal charge. Even the United penalty, Steve, was never a penalty. Where's the guy supposed to put his hand? It was just compensation for me. My disappointment is the tactical side of it. You need a centre forward. He takes him off and brings Mason Mount on. What is Mason Mount supposed to do? Ten Hag tactically is clueless, in my opinion. As for the goalkeeper, he never looks like saving anything, Steve. It's not going to end well. I think we're going to get stuck out of Europe. I think Copenhagen may sneak something at home against Galatasaray in the last game, and United are going to have to win in Turkey, Stephen. I don't see that. It's just hard. I had a lot of mates. They don't win there with good teams.
Galatasaray.
I had several mates that were out there. They were sending me pictures before the game, and they didn't fancy themselves. But the fans, they always travel. But it's just disappointing. But as you said, for 40 minutes it was one-way traffic, and that was a game lost as opposed to we threw it away. But really disappointing. I just don't know where he goes, Ten Hag, but he keeps taking Højlund off. Every game he takes him off. Why, I don't know. But anyway, we'll hear what the aftermath is. And I'll listen to Scholes and Hargreaves afterwards. They said they can't fire him. To me, well, they've got to play the Champions League out and see what happens. But really disappointing. I had a look at his signings. They all been woeful. So tough times at Man United. We had it going for a lot, but hate to say it, Steve, but we're going nowhere. Anyway, on to the fix.
The issue is as well. Yeah, I just
Steve.
said very quickly. I was reading that they said that because of the ownership situation has stalled, they think that there is no money available in January. So that isn't going to help them at all, is it? So it's the squad as it is has got to buck themselves up. Otherwise, you say they're going nowhere.
Well, they've got to clear Varane and get rid of Casemiro and try and sell a few players to get some funds. And they've got to do what Ferguson did in the mid-2000s. They've got to go and buy quality youngsters.
Steve, one quick question before we move off Man United. Where is the problem? Up top? Is it from the Radcliffe Glazers? Is it Ten Hag, or is it the players, in your opinion?
I think it's a mixture of all of it. I mean, obviously the whole ownership thing, I think, is unsettling for everybody. And then you've got a manager who came in, and he did okay last year, but as Bud says, he seems to be tactically, I think a lot of people are questioning now. And then got some of the players. There was a big banner at Fulham for the United fans, which they made a big thing. They said, "Play like you mean it." And I think at times there are players there who are just going through the motions. So it's going to be a difficult season, I think, for them.
Yeah, we're just going to have to clear out all the elderly players, and Eriksen will be one. I would clear out Bruno Fernandes, because if he's our leader, I'd hate to go to war with a guy like him. Anyway, Steve, we've got Europa League games, but Ajax Brighton, that should be a decent game, even though Ajax are struggling in the Dutch league.
Yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity. Obviously, Brighton beat them a couple of weeks ago. It's an opportunity for Brighton to sort of move up that table a bit. Obviously, they can't afford to lose it because they could find themselves bottom of the group. Yeah. So I think it'll be like Ajax are having a shocking season. Their worst for many a year. This is an opportunity if he's brave, De Zerbi, and plays a strong side.
Yeah, Liverpool should surely thump Toulouse. They beat them 5-1 at home.
So this is an opportunity for them to win the group pretty much, and then he can take his foot off the gas in the last two. So, I would play a strong side, win the group. He can then take it easy and rest players afterwards.
Yeah, David Moyes is going to have to play a decent side against Olympiacos, especially after they lost 2-1 away 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
they should do it. I think again because it's in I think again, they've won 2 and lost 1. They don't want to sort of. He has played strong sides, so I think he'll put a strong side out tonight, and I think they'll want to bounce back. They've had a few defeats recently, and I think they'll want to win that and get themselves back up that table.
Yeah, no doubt. And Aston Villa surely got to thump AZ Alkmaar.
I think so. They played very well over there a couple of weeks ago. I think that he'll put out a strong side. They want to have a good run in Europe. Yeah. I think they'll put out a strong side, and they should be favourites to win.
Yeah. Anyway, on to the Premiership, and I think it's a superb game to kick off. Wolves versus Tottenham. Paul, what's the injury situation with your boys?
Mine, sure. It's one doubtful, obviously. Yeah. Madison, definitely 3 or 4 gone. Red cards. But I think we've got enough in the squad. I think we've got, if the boy who had to get sacrificed, Johnson, what's his name?
Johnson, the young You've-Notts Forest.
Play him song, and of course Kulusevski. Through the middle, we should have players.
Yeah,
so still there. A couple of, I think Dyer's going to have to come in. He stood his ground well. Who will play with Dyer, to me, is the key.
Yeah.
And then we've still got Porra. We can play the other Brazilian at left back. We'll put out a decent side, but they both teams are looking to come back from defeats.
Yeah.
I think we can win.
Yeah.
And I like the brand of football we play.
Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, I think obviously injuries and red cards are going to sort of semi-decimate the squad a little bit. Wolves were unlucky. I mean, they were totally on top at Sheffield United in the first half. And Gary O'Neill, I think, is sort of was disappointed that they didn't get anything out of that. I think it'll be a close game. I think Tottenham, before the injuries, I think I would have said nailed on to win that. I think it's going to be close. I still think Tottenham probably have got the edge, but Wolves could hold them.
Yeah, I think there's one thing certain. There is going to be goals. I think both teams a little bit weak at the back, especially Spurs with 2 centre-halves missing. Yeah. I think this has got 2-1, 3-2. I think this is going to be a cracker of a game.
A good game.
Yeah, I think there's goals. That's my suggestion in this particular game. Steve, Arsenal surely got to be too good for Burnley?
You would think so. I mean, Burnley are really having a poor season. They haven't. Away is where they picked up a few points. At home, they've lost 6 in a row. Arsenal are going to want to bounce back after that defeat at Newcastle. Arteta is obviously really having a rant about VAR, and I think Arsenal. I'd be really surprised if Arsenal don't win comfortably.
Yeah, they should. It's -2, 16-10, but. Arsenal haven't been scoring that many goals lately, Stephen. I think Burnley are going to park the bus, so I don't expect a high-scoring affair. Crystal Palace, Everton, Steve. I've got a strong fancy here. Which way are you going?
I think this would be a tight game. Everton are starting to show a little bit of form, scoring goals, although obviously Calvert-Lewin is still a worry, I think, for them. He doesn't seem to be at the last 90 minutes. Look, Palace at home are a hard team to beat, and I think I sort of see this as a pretty low-scoring game. For me, I think Palace might just edge it, but Everton, I think, will give them a good game.
Yeah, I fancy Everton here, Steve. You know, I've been really impressed away from home. They seem to play better. Obviously, it's the pressure at Goodison. But, you know, they've gone well in the Cup. I know they've got you in the quarter-final. Against West Ham, they were the better team for large parts of that game. Remember, they beat Brighton last year. They're away from home, and I think this is going to be a set-piece game. And I think I'm going to have a few rand on Calvert-Lewin. Was it the guy's name? Tchaikovsky at the back, the big boy. I think this is going to be a set-piece game, and Everton are really good. I think there's goals in this, Steve, because I think this is going to be a good game. I took 2-1 Everton to score over 1.5 goals. That's my play there. I think there's going to be goals in this. I'm actually looking forward to this. I know bookings look an absolute certainty, especially with the style of play. But this will be the game I'll be watching at 5 o'clock. Hate to say it, Steve, but I won't be watching Man United, Luton. But surely
1-3.
They've got to get a result here.
Well, they have to get a result. Although, you know, to be fair to Luton, they do a pretty game against Liverpool. You know, and they'll throw everything. They're going to look at United and think they're a little bit of a wounded beast after what happened last night. Yep. And I think Luton will be in their faces. United have got to bounce back. I mean, look, I wasn't overly impressed with United in the second half at Fulham last week. I thought they were very fortunate. If it wasn't for poor defending by us, you know, we would have at least got a point. But so I think United will win, but I think it's going to be a pretty scrappy game.
Yeah, so do I. Really impressed the way Luton fought, but if Salah hadn't mishead that header, and if it had Nunes had scored, I think they'd have got beat by a couple. But plenty of fight, and after last night, anything's possible. Bournemouth, Newcastle, Steve. Newcastle, I thought a little bit fortunate with that goal against Arsenal. Bournemouth had a good result. I think they beat Burnley at home. Yeah. Can this be an upset?
Yeah, look, potentially it could be. Newcastle have got a bit of an injury crisis as well, and obviously had a tough game on Tuesday. But I think I'd still fancy Newcastle to get something there. You know, I think Bournemouth did beat Burnley, but you know, I think that Burnley have been poor this season. I think that Newcastle will be a different sort of kettle of fish for them, and I think that he's going to want to sort of carry on, sort of just, you know, on the coattails of the top 4 or 5 Newcastle. So I think Eddie Howe's going to put out a strong, you know, strongest available side.
Yeah, and also, you know, it doesn't look like they're going to go too far in the Champions League, so he's going to have to try and get that 4th place, which is, in my opinion, the only thing available to them. But 7-10 is not a bad price. On to our second page. Aston Villa, Fulham. Steve, can you get a point?
Well, we could, but I mean, if you look at Aston Villa's home record, you know, when did they last drop points? I think this, you know, very disappointing performance away at Forest last week.
Very.
Villa. Our problem is goals. I mean, we had 18 shots against United, only 2 on target, and that sums up our season really. You know, we just have not, you know, by any way you look at it, replaced. We've got 3 forwards, none of whom have scored in the league. So the three, Vinicius, Ramirez. So Vinicius they got one goal between the three of them, and that's our issue. So I think, as much as I'd love to see us get something, I think Villa are going to be odds-on favourites.
Yeah, it looks like Aston Villa to win, both teams to score. That looks the way. I went over 2.5 goals, both teams to score. See, Villa have been a little bit disappointing after the Europa League. I know they've mixed and matched, and you guys got a good point at Brighton, so you never know. But you know, really hard to go against a team that's won 12 league games at home in a row. Brighton, Sheffield United, Steve. Surely it's got to be Brighton.
Yeah, look, you would think so. Obviously, Sheffield United got their first win of the season. Yeah. It hasn't been enough to sort of get them off the bottom, but you know, I think Brighton obviously have got to put out a strong side tonight away. They've been a little bit up and down. Obviously, they started like a house on fire this season, but they've been a little bit up and down, Brighton. But I think that they should be too strong for Sheffield United at home.
Yeah, you got to think 1-4 is a good thing. Liverpool, this won't be easy at home against Brentford. How do you see it, Steve? Sorry, Steve.
We're losing you, Steve.
You there?
Brentford have won 3 in a row. I mean,
yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Steve. You're just coming and going.
Okay.
Just keep.
I don't know what happened. So, yeah, Brentford. Look, I think that Liverpool should be too strong, but Brentford will give them a game. They've come back with 3 wins in a row, and they're capable of scoring goals. I fancy this to be something like 3-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, Brentford will definitely score, but Liverpool, you never know. But 4-10 is a bit short. West Ham, Notts Forest, Steve. Good chance for West Ham to get back, especially against the Notts Forest team who don't play well away from home.
Yeah, I think West Ham, I mean, they've probably disappointed with that result last week, having sort of gone ahead. I think they should be too strong for Forest. Forest don't travel well, but they're making themselves harder to beat. I think West Ham should just edge this.
All right. Man City, Chelsea, big game on Sunday. I think 7-10 is a good price here.
Me too. Take a lump on the 7-10, Steve.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think, look, this is going to be a good game. I mean, Chelsea obviously have come back with a big win on Monday, but I think City, I don't know what side he's going to play because he mixes and matches all the time. But, if they do what they have been doing, I think that they should get a result. I don't think it will be a walkover, but I think that City should win.
Yeah. 18-10, Man City win by more than 1 goal. Get on.
Lump on.
On to the championship, Steve. It was Rotherham 2, Ipswich 2. Can't believe Ipswich are still going strong, but Rotherham, all their points are strangely been taken at home. So brass them away from home. Friday night, Steve, Lancashire Derby, Blackburn versus my boys Preston. What do you think?
Yeah, it should be a good game. Blackburn had a really good result last weekend. Yes. It's either win or lose with them.
Yeah. Preston
did well last week. Came back and got a good result. I think this will be a close game. There'll be goals.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a close game. I can see Preston holding them. I think that they make themselves hard to beat, and I think this will be a close game, but I think Preston could hold them.
Yeah, 7-10, both teams to score. That's my suggestion. Sunderland, Birmingham, Steve. Sunderland always have a go at home. Wayne Rooney's team, a little bit unlucky last week, cruising against Ipswich, who came back to draw 2-2. I think there's goals in this, Steve, but Sunderland for you?
Yeah, I think they should be too strong, but I think you're right. I think Birmingham evidently played very well for most of the game last week. I think he'll be buoyed by that, and I think they'll run them close. I think if there is to be a winner, it'll only be by a goal.
Early kick-off. I think I may watch this to the Tottenham Wolves game, but I fancy goals. Over 2.5 goals, 8-10. But definitely goals in that game. Steve, Cardiff City, Norwich. I can't believe Norwich got thumped at home by Blackburn 3-1. The way Cardiff City will win, 11-10, looks a fair price.
Yeah, no, I like those odds. I think Cardiff should win. Norwich, in their last 6 league games, a draw and 5 defeats, having a shocking run. Well beaten at home by Blackburn. There's something obviously going, painfully wrong. I mean, for a team that normally, come close in the Championship, they're way off the mark at the moment. Yeah. Cardiff are having their best season for a while. I fancy a home win here.
Yeah, definitely. 5 wins out of the last 6 at home. Got to fancy Cardiff all day. Another team that are really struggling, Steve, is Coventry. Can't believe they're in 20th position. This should be a chance for Stoke. to keep climbing up that ladder.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is an opportunity for Stoke. As you say, Coventry, after a couple of decent seasons, they're really finding it hard to get a win at the moment. And I think Stoke can get something there.
Yeah, on to our second page. We've got Hull City are going well in the league. Should be too good for Huddersfield, surely, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, Huddersfield have, they're having a difficult time there, Darren Moore. But I think Hull, they draw a lot of games, but I think they should be too strong at home.
Yeah, no doubt. Ipswich Swansea, Steve. I think this will be a good game. Swansea aren't the worst of sides. Can they cause an upset?
Yeah, they can do. I mean, last week they had a player off, but they still managed to hang on for a draw. Ipswich sort of dropped points recently, but I think they might just edge this. There should be goals. I think this is probably one of the best games of the weekend in the Championship.
I saw the highlights when they beat Plymouth 4-3. They looked a little bit open at the back. So Swansea, cagey side, you never know what can happen. Steve, last week I got it totally wrong. I thought Leicester would destroy Leeds, but it was the other way around. I was really impressed with what I saw from Leeds United. And at home against Plymouth, I think this is going to be another hiding. How do you see it going now?
Yeah, I think they're just starting to find their feet, Leeds.
Yeah.
And I think they'll score goals. Plymouth score, but I think Leeds are going to win by at least a couple.
Yeah, I saw that. I looked at 11-2 Leeds to win the league, but they're quite a way off, so I'll hold on to that bet for a while. Middlesbrough, Leicester City, Steve. As I said last week, Leicester really disappointed in how they played. The manager, I don't know if he's Spanish, trying to play this La Liga style. Leeds just bottled up the two midfield players and won comfortably. I think they'll rebound here. Steve, do you?
Yeah, I think they should start as favourites, but Middlesbrough were disappointed with their last home game. Yeah. But I think that Michael Carrick is going to want to see the sort of, obviously they had a really good run to get themselves up the table. But I think this would be a good game. But I think Leicester of the two should start as favourites.
Yeah, I always like a team. They've only lost one in the last 10, and that was at home against Leeds. Really disappointing. The fans were quiet. 13-10, I think it's a good price. On to our final page in the Championship. Two teams that are struggling, especially QPR. Bristol City score goals. Steve, I was going to make this my value bet of the weekend, but you never know with QPR. How do you see it going now?
Well, I mean, it's their home record has just been so, it's probably the worst in the country. But with a new manager, they got a point last week away. Yeah. Bristol City don't travel very well. Obviously, Nigel Pearson having sort of left them a week or so ago. Yeah. I think QPR could get something out of the game, whether they'll win. But I think this is an opportunity for them, especially with a new manager, and often you get that bounce. So I think there are probably good value there in those odds for QPR to get what could only be their second home win in a year.
Yeah, I think there'll be goals in this. Even money over 2.5 goals, 8-10, both teams to score. That's my suggestion. Sheffield Wednesday, Steve, their performances have improved. Can they upset Millwall?
They can, but I'm not sure they will. Millwall, were disappointed last week, lost at home, but they're a hard team to beat. Yeah. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if they sort of cancel each other out a little bit. But as you say, Sheffield Wednesday got their first win at home recently, and I can see a draw here. Yeah.
I'm seeing Millwall have drawn 4 the last 5 away from home. It wouldn't shock me. Yeah. Southampton, West Brom, Steve. I think this is going to be a good game. Speaking to a good mate of ours, Gary Green, who streams it, he said they've scored in injury time in the last 4 games. West Brom won't be a pushover, though.
No, not at all. And I think again this could be probably as good a game as any in the Championship this weekend. Southampton had a bit of a wobble, as you say. They've come back scoring late goals. They obviously don't give up. But West Brom have looked quite good recently, and I think those are very good odds away from home.
Yeah, over 2.5 goals, both teams to score. Yes, it's 12-10. That's my suggestion. The game there should be goals. And last but not least, Steve, Watford just seem to be turning it round. Surely they've got to beat Rotherham at home.
Yes, I mean, Rotherham, as we know, don't seem to travel at all well. Yeah. But I think that Watford should be favourites.
Yeah, Watford to win by more than 12-10. Steve, pressure time as always. I need your best bet, and I think I know your value bet, but who are you going for?
I'm going to go go for Cardiff as my best bet.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that they're not odds on. And my value bet, I was torn between a couple. I might go for West Brom. I think 3-1 is very good odds, and they're playing well at the moment.
Yeah, no doubt. Steve, I'm all over Leicester. I'm going to give them another chance, and my value bet's Everton. Just like what I've seen lately. Hopefully they don't play too well in the League Cup quarter-final against your team, but I just think set piece wide. Is it Tchaikovsky? Who's the big centre-half from, was it Burnley?
Tarkovsky.
Yeah, I always like backing. Now, back Maguire a couple of times to score 12-14 to 1, so he'll be my suggestion. Steve, thanks as always, and we'll speak to you over the weekend.
Bye-bye, Steve.
Absolutely. Cheers. Bye, Paul.
Our UK correspondent, Stevie Braham.
Stevie B, the man. PSL.
Yeah, Paul.
I'm going to go through these results quickly. Cape Town City beat Chipper 2-1.
Yeah.
Orlando Pirates beat Sekakune 1-0. Royal AM 1-0 over Golden Arrows.
Maritzburg.
And Stellenbosch 2-1 over Richards Bay.
Yeah.
Wednesday results. I saw the highlights. The Chiefs, Cape Town Spurs. The guy hit the crossbar. That was a killer for Cape Town Spurs, but Chiefs won it.
Yeah.
Polokwane and Supersport won each.
All, yeah.
And Swallows beat TS Galaxy.
They're going well, Swallows, Paul. Steve Compella's team.
Let's look at this weekend.
Yeah, Paul, Friday night in Cape Town. Get the odds up now. Cape Town City against Royal AM. Hard to beat against a Cape Town City, you know. Yeah. Tinker at home. They won 4 of the last 5. 6-10 is short, Paul, but you got to think they'll get a result. Yeah. Chiefs Pirates, the local derby. I don't see Pirates getting beat, Paul. Haven't been impressed with Chiefs, but we know this game. It can go either way. Yeah. The draw tends to be the right way to go at 2-1, but you know, Chiefs aren't going well at the moment. But Pirates, every time I go for them, they draw. So the draw looks the right play. Polokwane Swallows, Paul. I was really impressed when I saw Polokwane draw with Pirates, but I couldn't believe it. They got knocked out in the cup. They got beat by Stellenbosch, 2-0 at home. Hard to beat Morocco Swallows, Paul. So I think this has got 0-0, 1-1 written all over it, 21-10 for me. Paul, I like Stellenbosch. You know, Chipper, another team that don't score too many goals, where Steve Barker's team do. Of the 2 teams, I fancy Stellenbosch. Good price too, 27-10.
Arrows back at home.
Paul, I can't believe the betting of this. They played in the League Cup last week, and Amazulu beat them 3-0. Now, this game is in Hammersdale, and the Golden Arrows are going great in the league. I just can't believe Arrows are 8-10, so it's even money, win and draw Amazulu.
7-2 Amazulu.
I can't believe that, Paul, but maybe they think it was a fluke result. And they played at Moses Mabhida, but this is in Hammersdale. They're going well, Arrows, Paul. But I think win and draw Amazulu for me. Cape Town Spurs, Paul, they can't buy a result. They've only won 1, and that was a game against Orlando Pirates, and I watched it. How they got the 3 points, I don't know. But Richards Bay don't win too many games, especially at home. But this is a great chance for Richards Bay, Paul, 14-10. And Sekakune against Supersport. Sekakune were the cup team. They got beat on penalties by TS Galaxy. Gavin's team, Paul, 1-1 last night. They were in control, but they're not the same Supersport as they used to be. You know, it's hard to back Gavin's team. There will be goals, Paul. Yeah. That would be my suggestion, that particular game. But 24-10, the draw looks the right way to go.
All right, let's have a look at your bets now, bud.
Yeah, Paul, we start off with our Gold Circle score 6. Let me wait for it to come up. Yeah, I've got the field in the Wolves versus Tottenham game. I'm bankering Arsenal to beat Burnley. The field in the Crystal Palace Everton game. Man United should get back to winning ways, beat Luton Town. I've gone the draw in with Leicester City, Middlesbrough, and Newcastle Bournemouth, looking for an upset, Paul, 2-1-6. On to other soccer 6 for Saturday. I'm going Orlando Pirates win and draw against Kaizer Chiefs. The field in the Polokwane Swallows game. I think Arsenal will be too good for Burnley. The field in the Crystal Palace Everton game. I'm going for Newcastle United to beat Bournemouth. And I don't see Stellenbosch losing at Chipper United 2-1-6. On to our score 10 for the weekend. I've gone the field in the Wolves Tottenham, Sunderland Birmingham City game. I think Arsenal will be too good for Burnley. Gone the field in the Crystal Palace Everton clash. Man United should get back to winning ways at home against Luton. On to our second page, I'm going Ipswich, win and draw at home against Swansea City. Leeds United to be too good for Plymouth Argyle. Leicester City to be too good at Middlesbrough. Southampton win and draw at home against West Brom. And chancing Newcastle United to beat Bournemouth 216. On to the 13, I'm bankering Newcastle to beat Bournemouth, Arsenal to beat Burnley, Man United to beat Luton, the field in the Crystal Palace Everton game, Cardiff City to be too good for Norwich City, the field in the Coventry City Stoke City fixture, going for Hull City to be too good at home against Huddersfield Town. On to the second page, I'm going Ipswich Town to avoid defeat at home against Swansea City, going for Leicester City to beat Middlesbrough, Bristol City win and draw at Queen's Park Rangers, as well as Millwall win and draw at Sheffield Wednesday. I've thrown the draw in with Southampton at home against West Brom, and going for Watford to be too good for Rotherham United, 256.
My best side of it, but your best here.
Bets, Paul.
You have to explain one or two to me. I've read
Paul,
them.
there are a lot of like 1 to 5 shots, so trying to find value, and it was really difficult this week. But I've gone over 2.5 goals, both teams to score, yes. I think there's goals in this, 18 at 10, I think the price was, in the Crystal Palace versus Everton. And I think Aston Villa, Fulham will be goals as well, Paul. Okay. I know Fulham are struggling away from home, but Villa in Europe normally concede. And then I'm going Man City to win by more than 1 goal against Chelsea. I think that's a good thing. 18 at 10. So 2,900 to 200 was our bet. Our team goals, I'm going Everton, Liverpool and West Ham all to score over 1.5 goals, and Man City to score over 2.5 goals. 4,600 to 200. You know, Spurs should have scored 3 or 4, Paul. So Man City, I think, will score 3 or 4. That's my suggestion.
Yeah.
Championship, my quad, I'm going Cardiff City to beat Norwich City, Leicester City to beat Middlesbrough, and over 2.5 goals in the Sunderland Birmingham and Southampton West Brom games, 2,900 to 200. I've had to throw an extra game in because the odds are just getting shortened by the week. So I'm going Blackburn Preston, Sunderland Birmingham City, Ipswich Swansea City, QPR Bristol City, and Southampton West Brom, 3,200 to 200. On to Spain, where we're hoping for a little bit of luck this time. I'm going over 2.5 goals, both teams to score in the Seville derby between Sevilla and Real Betis. I'm going for my boys Getafe to score over 1.5 goals, and over 2.5 goals, both teams to score no. So Atletico 3-0, Paul, against Villarreal. I had a good bet with Villarreal. They were at home against, I think it was Alaves, terrible team. They were lucky to draw, Paul. So I think this is a 3-4-0 game. It was 7-2. So my money's on already, Paul. 6,200 to 200 as I play. And our Collis King 6 on Nexa. I'm going Man City to beat Chelsea, Cardiff to beat Norwich, Leeds to beat Plymouth Argyle, Leicester to beat Middlesbrough, Barcelona to beat Alaves, and Atletico Madrid to beat Villarreal, 3,700 to 200.
Very good, Budge. That's excellent. That's the part I like, your best bets. And there they are. Don't forget, on the 25th, we start the new Last One Standing. There are 18 people going in this weekend. They look to have some plum picks, but until next time, stay on side.